Deadlock just released a massive balance update, totally unexpected. Everyone thought it was going to come at the end of the 6 heroes release, but here it is. Massive changes to items and heroes, but the biggest thing first, there is now hero bans in the game. For both modes, both Street Brawl and Standard. The way it works is, you select one hero, you want banned at the start of the match, and there's 2 bans in total. I'm guessing this is going to work with the majority vote is gonna get banned. Okay, so the 2 most popular bans from both teams will be combined and be banned for both sides. Okay, and the cool thing is, it's not gonna be a pick and ban phase early. You're not gonna waste more time. It's gonna automatically get you into the game while the heroes that are banned. Which, really sick change. There are problematic heroes. There have been problematic heroes for over a year. Mina. So you can now actually decide you don't want to play against a specific hero. And there will be fan favorite bans, and Mina is going to be one of them, at least on high rank. And I'm sure there's going to be fan favorite bans on low rank as well. Other than that, a few small changes to fire rate, the way party stacking works, to guarantee a hero. I just made a video, so you now need 1 more player to guarantee a hero, by the way, if you want to know. I'm not going to go over every change in specific. I'm going to point out the biggest. Overall, nerfs to gun items, especially the late game gun items. Glass Cannon and Lucky Shot both got hit quite hard. And another big nerf went to debuff remover. In fact, it's now called Dispel Magic, and it works completely different. You don't buy it out of debuff reducer anymore, and it does no longer grant 30% debuff resistance. It will still dispel magic. That's what the new name is, right? It will still dispel any negative effects, slowing hexes, you know, bebop bombs, etc. We'll get to bebop bombs in a second. But overall, this is definitely a nerf to the item, and a much needed nerf, because if you know how debuff reducer worked and has been working, it's been a must buy for most characters in the game. And I still think this item is going to be good, Dispel Magic, but it is not like a brain dead buy anymore that you just buy so you have 30% debuff resistance. Instead, what you can now do is, you can buy Unstoppable or Spellbreaker, and both of those items got quite big buffs, and both of those items got buffs in different ways. Unstoppable gives more debuff resistance. Spellbreaker can now build out of debuff reducer. So it's an easier way to get to Spellbreaker, which Spellbreaker, if you don't know what it does reduce the debuffs by 25%, okay? And it also gives a massive spirit resistance. It is nerfed a bit overall in terms of spirit resistance numbers, but because you can build it out of debuff reducer, it's going to be a better item, because you can get debuff reducer early and get an earlier Spellbreaker, and you don't have to save up 6k to get the item. So, W changes, the biggest change to an item, the biggest nerf. If you know the meta and if you've played the game in the last few weeks, Curse has been a must-buy on every single character in the game, because it just disables the enemy from playing the game. And Valve, Yoshi, W finally addressed it. And they addressed it in a really smart way, in my opinion. So it doesn't give weapon damage anymore. But the bigger deal is, while holding Curse, it now gives you a total of a negative 8% damage penalty. Which means everything you do, every sort of damage, all your spells and your gun, all your melees will do 8% less. Which means you don't want to buy this item anymore on carries, right? Before you would buy it on carries, you would buy it on Haze, you would buy it on Viscous, you would buy it on everyone that was, you know, if you had the money. But now you really don't want to buy this as much anymore on carries characters in specific, because your damage is going to suffer massively. 8% total doesn't sound like a lot until you realize it applies on absolutely everything, right? It's way bigger of a deal than 15% weapon damage reduction, which that also helps, right? So this is going to be an item you will buy on supports that don't necessarily have the goal of dealing damage, right? I'm saying Dynamo, Page, Rem, the new character, support characters, and maybe hybrids, but even hybrid characters like off carries, like Paradox, like Holiday, they want to burst people down, right? Like, they are spirit burst characters, and they will think more about when to buy Curse or if to buy Curse. So it is a massive nerf. It's still going to be a really good item, I think, on certain characters, and we'll see how the meta develops, but it's definitely a nerf, and it's a well-needed nerf, okay? So that's the big changes in the item category. One big shout out to the biggest buff in items is Mystic Reverb. This item was basically never bought on anyone, and now it gives the imbued ability 30% spirit lifesteal, which is a massive amount, right? So if you buy this on like Geist Bomb, you will heal a lot more than before, right? The overall spirit lifesteal got nerfed, but if you use this on like a really big AoE ability that is easy to hit, this will definitely be bought a lot more. Watch out for Mystic Reverb. Other than that, small changes. Again, mostly gun nerfs, slight gun nerfs. It will change the meta up, and it really is addressing the standout items of the patch, like Hollow Point, right? Like Capacitor, and it's giving some well-needed buffs to items that were not used as much, like Resto, Locket. God, really big changes. Heroes, I think they cooked overall. I think this patch overall addresses the major broken characters. Abrams, especially Gun Abrams, was really strong. Abrams has a lot more damage falloff on gun, a lot worse scaling on gun. In addition to that, the Siphon Life got nerfed. Some compensating buffs, but overall definitely Abrams nerfs. If you know anything about the hero, he was really strong. So this is good. Billy got nerfs, slight nerfs, decent adjustments. A big one, and the one I'm really worried about. I think the biggest winner of this patch, probably, is Bebop. So they changed the uppercut. Uppercut doesn't give 100% ammo anymore, but it now gives back 20% of your missing HP. And if you ever fought against a Bebop, you know that when they are low, Bebop is really tanky, right? When they're low, they uppercut you, dislocate you, and then it's kind of hard to kill them. And now it's going to be a lot harder, because 20% health on Bebop is a lot of health, right? So massive buffs to Bebop. And in addition to that, they really over-buffed, in my opinion, Sticky Bomb. Okay, so there are a few changes, but the big one is, if you use Debuff Remover, or Dispel Magic as it's called now, against Sticky Bomb, which was the main counter, right? If you did Echo Shard Double Bomb, it used to just disappear. Now the bombs fall to the ground and continue ticking, which means you have to get out of the way, right? So if the Bebop sticks you, yeah, you can Debuff Remove it, but the bombs will still be on the ground and hit you, possibly. Worried about this one, worried. Bebop looks a lot stronger. Another character that got a really big buff is Drifter. And the biggest one here is Blood Scent Isolation Range, which means enemies can now be closer together and they're still considered isolated, which gives Drifter his damage buff. So Drifter, a smart Drifter, can find somewhat isolated players in teamfights, and 25 to 20 meters is a big deal. It means that a lot more often Drifter's passive will be active and he will do a lot more damage. And he was bad before. This should help him get back. I'm not gonna claim he's like gonna be OP, but it's definitely gonna help him. You have to be watching out now, even in teamfights. You want to be close to your team. Don't fight a Drifter alone. So this is good. Small buffs to Great Talon. He did need some love. He was really bad before. Small quality of life buffs to Ivy and Kelvin. Lash got hit really hard. So now you can only rotate 90 degrees when you're initiating a slam. And if you play Lash, you know sometimes you just want to turn around 180 to make sure you hit it. This is gonna make hitting slams a lot less consistent. In addition to that, nerf to Flock's Spirit's damage scaling. So Lash got hit quite hard. Big nerfs to Lash, big nerfs to Abrams. And meanwhile, Mina gets a slap on the wrist. If you know anything about Mina, this is really not gonna address her as the strongest character in the game. Now that Graves is out, which, spoilers, Graves is really OP, Mina might be the second strongest character, but she's definitely still the second strongest character, and she is gonna be my number one. I'm gonna ban her every game, basically. Like, that's my solution, because these are slaps on the wrist. Who didn't get slaps on the wrist is Gun Viscous. He is completely gutted. He got a 40% nerf to his damage scaling on Gun. In addition to that, the cube no longer removes all debuffs, so you can't use it against something like Affliction anymore. He got some spirit scaling buff, but even Puddle Punch got nerfed. So I think Viscous is in the gutters. I'll make a tier list very soon. It's gonna be on YouTube, but I want to predict Viscous is gonna be absolute dog shit. Like, he's gonna be one of the worst characters in the game now, because the one playstyle he had was Gun. And again, I don't hate it, but I think he got over-nerfed. He needed more compensating buffs, in my opinion. Slight page nerfs, Viper, slight adjustments. Don't think it will change the character much. You're not gonna notice this as much. They shifted some of her damage around, but she's still gonna be Spirit Nuker in lane. Vindicta got an interesting change, and to get this out of the way, this is a nerf. Okay? So the way Vindicta was being played until now was you get rapid recharge, and you go for snipes. And they get a lot of money. A lot of bonus gold, right? A lot of bonus souls. And they completely removed that bonus souls that you're getting from snipes and changed it to weapon damage. which sounds really good on paper, right? If you get snipes, you do more weapon damage. But souls and the amount of souls Vindicta was getting from snipes was the main thing that made her broken. Which reminds me of one other thing that I didn't mention. Rapid Recharge also got a nerf by itself, right? So not only did the item that she needs get nerfed, the ability also got nerfed. Rapid Recharge, or the reduction between snipes, it got decreased, which means you have to wait longer even if you buy Rapid Recharge between every snipe. And in compensation, it's some cooldown reduction, but overall also Spirit nerfs on the ability. So definitely a nerf to Rapid Recharge. Definitely a pretty weak item. And we'll have to see if this even bought anywhere else. So yeah, Warden, slight slap on the wrist, still a great character in terms of gun. Overall impressions? Really good patch. I think it addresses the big pain points. The curse, right? The capacitor. The really big gun changes. I think there's actually more options now to deal with spirit damage. In fact, like spirit resilience got buffed too, where it gives you more spirit resilience at 35% instead of 30%. So overall, good changes. But it's not gonna change the meta drastically, I wanna say. Big winner is Bebop. Bebop is the king. Big loser, Viscous, Lash, I wanna say. Mina, slap on the wrist. The biggest thing is the bans. You can now ban the heroes of your choice. Ban Mina, vote Silver. And yeah, if you care about Street Brawl, there are now separate balancing. There's separate balancing changes to Street Brawl, because Street Brawl had a very different playstyle if you played it. So this is good. It's not my favorite game mode. I really enjoy it from time to time. I think it's gonna be weird that some characters gonna feel different in the main mode than Street Brawl, but they have to do this kinda, because all these ultimates that used to be really strong in Street Brawl got adjusted. There were some adjustments to ult charge overall. So if you care about Street Brawl, also at first glance, really good changes to Street Brawl. Overall, W patch, W Yoshi. Graves not adjusted, and by the way, the new heroes will not be affected by bans. So if you want to play the new heroes, don't be worried about them being banned. I was kind of worried because right now I'm like 14-1 on Graves, or 14-2. The character is absolutely busted. And I'm sure we'll get adjustments to the new heroes down the line. Makes sense that they're not nerfing them or buffing them yet, because there's only 2 out. So yeah, until next time. See you, friends.